It's just, yeah, and it's just like that reaction. Like I was driving along the other day and I was late, and actually through no fault of my own, because I had actually left like way early enough. But then Hereford is also known as Horrorford because it's just the worst place in the world to drive through. And they closed the road. And so I was just sitting there and I was like, I'm literally going to be late for the class that I'm teaching. And I was sitting there for 45 minutes in almost stationary traffic, and I was absolutely losing my shit. And I just sat there and I was like, why are you losing your temper? There's literally nothing that you can do about this. Like nothing.
Use any of these fix if you think my hair really isn't up.
Do you know what the problem is though? You can totally use this, because I feel like people will relate, because this is like such an ADHD thing as well. Like I cut all my hair off and I'm like, yeah, this looks great. And 2 weeks later I'm like, why the fuck did I do that? And now I'm trying to grow my hair again. But the problem is now I'm in my like budget Ringo Starr phase, like, growing out into my monkeys phase. And it's just terrible. Like it's just, and it's becoming a mullet at the back. It's not good.
I totally get what you mean though, because I remember I had a fringe cut, not once. I did it once and regretted it. Then I did it again about 5 years later, just to think maybe it wasn't so bad. But yeah, poor decision maker.
I don't think so much as poor decision. Well, yes, okay, no, definitely poor decision maker, but more impulsive decision maker.
Impulsive, yeah. You sit there and you just think, fuck it, I want to change.
Yeah, and my hairdresser will be like, "Are you sure?" And I'll be like, "Yes, just do the thing." And like I never like my hair anyway, and so like, and then I come home and I'm like, Joe, I don't know why I just don't shave all my head off like a snooker ball and wear wigs. And he's like, well, why don't you? And I was like, because I think wigs would be really itchy because of all of like my sensory issues. But like maybe you can get like a silk wig cap, but then it would slide off your head.
Wigs. Yeah, well, I've only ever worn a wig over the top of my real hair, so maybe if you were snooker ball and put a wig on, it wouldn't be hot. But I've actually tried a wig before. I bought a wig when I was drunk once shopping in London and went to the theatre with it with my friend. And we were both like, we thought it was a great idea while we were drunk, but once the booze wore off, we were like, fucking get this off my head! Again, impulsive.
Yeah. I should talk to my friend Dan. Is a drag queen and he has so many wigs. I should just talk to him about it. He would help me.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, weird the topics we get onto on these ramblings, isn't it? Weird.
Yeah, that isn't even what we were talking about before you hit record, because we were talking about medieval prisons. Don't ask.
We need to talk about, but perhaps we should actually revisit. I know it's not going to be the same as when we first talked about it, but we talked about you have hospital fantasies.
Yes.
I get prison fantasies. Yes. And they're both about escaping, aren't they? And about shutting up.
I was just about to say, you should explain that before people think that it's some kind of a weird fetish. And then I was like, no, let people think that. Like, let people have their weird little fetishes. Who are you to judge us?
Exactly, but you actually prefer hospital fantasies because you don't like the thought of being in a dank, dark prison.
No, and I know that you did point out that prisons probably aren't like medieval fantasy prisons anymore with like threadbare blankets and moldy hay, but I've been reading a lot of books with that kind of thing in at the moment, so I was just like, I feel like a prison would be too cold, and I really hate being cold. And so, but if I was just, and before, like, maybe we should explain, it's like, I'm very lucky and privileged to be a person who has good health and doesn't have to go to hospital. Like, yeah, blah, blah, obviously, etc. But like we were talking about being knackered over Christmas and how I just instantly, as soon as I stopped doing things, I just instantly got ill. And I was still not quite recovered. And it wasn't like super, super ill, but I just remember coming home like from my last day of delivering things and just sobbing at Joe. I was just like, I can't do this anymore. And I was like, maybe I could get pneumonia and go to hospital for a week and then nobody would bother me or talk to me and I could just be on my own. And he was just like, are you okay, hun?
Oh,
no, he was really lovely, but he was just like, that's not a healthy thought to think. And I was like, I know, but I'm just so tired.
Yeah, I know. And you just want everything to stop for a little while. And that's what, I'm guessing when you're thinking about being in a hospital, you're also thinking private room.
Yeah,
because in the next door to you making annoying noises or smells.
these would be there with me. And also like a hoodie that comes all the way to here and like a taser or something, so that if anyone walks within a foot of me, I can just tase them. And they're already in a hospital, so it'd be fine. I could just treat them there.
Exactly. No, it's all good, but it basically what we're talking about is feeling overwhelmed with everything that's going on in life and just wanting to sort of step outside that for a little while, aren't we?
Yeah.
And I mean, I don't know about you, but I feel like even after the Christmas holidays, I've come out flat out. I haven't arranged enough rest time, because I spent Saturday and Sunday at my hypnosis course. So I've been learning all over the weekend. I had my client event on Thursday, grandchildren all day Friday, and I'm just like, I've got to Monday, and I'm like, I can't remember what I was supposed to be speaking about today. We did make a plan, and I think I wrote it down somewhere, and I'm just like, fuck it.
That's fine though, because it's the first day back. But like, that's like a massively packed first week, and like that you need to have a rest, Vicky. Like, this is like, go after this. I think you should just go to bed for a bit.
I think I will. Except I've got Mindset Monday coming up for our group, so I'm having to do some last minute prep for that and do that at 12:30. But after that, I've got time off blocked in my diary.
Awesome.
I'm just
good
afternoon just doing nothing.
Yeah. You know what? That's a really good lead in then too. So you've got time off blocked in your diary, and that's a really good thing to do, which I used to do but don't anymore, and I'm going to start doing again. But then, like, for me, last week, so it was the first week back, everybody kind of went back on Tuesday, unless they're Scottish, in which case they get an extra day for reasons. And, like, I was like, no, you know what? I'm not going back on Tuesday. I'm going to have Tuesday off as well, just to, like, gently, like, I didn't have any calls or anything. I did a little bit of work just to kind of ease myself back in. But then I kind of came back properly on Wednesday, and even that was, like, I went to the gym in the afternoon, so I did work in the morning, and that was really deliberate, partly because I've been ill over Christmas because I was just so exhausted, and partly because, like, I really hate that I get whiplash, if you like, you know, when you've had like a week off or 2 weeks off or whatever, and then you like dive straight back in like full throttle, and I don't think that, like, that's not good for me. I don't know if it works for you, but for me that's not a good thing.
No, it wasn't particularly good for me. Hence, you know, we had that conversation just before we started recording about the fact that I'm not going to arrange a client event 2 days back into the new year. Is pants. It's a horrible thing to do. So, just, I think protecting energy is something that as ADHDers, we need to do. And sort of, I even got Christmas wrong this year.
Tell me Christmas wrong.
I put too much in my diary.
Right.
Yeah. Too much peopling, not enough resting.
Yeah.
For some reason, Christmas didn't feel long enough this year. Sometimes it feels like it's 2 weeks long. This year felt like 3 days. I don't know why, but it's sort of, yeah, because I thought, oh, I can see so-and-so on such, and then I can see these people as well. And I forgot that I actually need complete solitary time to recharge, that seeing people does not recharge me. I don't know if that's got anything to do with ADHD, more to do with version. But I think the ADHD element of it was being like over optimistic about what I could manage in any particular time. Yeah.
And that's such an ADHD trait as well. It's like, yes, I can do all of the things. And one of the things that I found really, so here we go. Here's a tip for listeners. Like, I get Joe to look over my plans so he can like look at it and go, that's insane. There is no way you'll be able to do all that. And then he makes me like chop it up and move things around, which is really helpful because I just look at it. So time blindness is a thing with ADHD, right?
Yeah.
And also, like, I just forget about prep time. So, and I think we've talked about this before, but it's like, if I've got an appointment that I have to be at, my brain will go, oh, cool, you need to leave then. But it's like, no, that's when the appointment starts. And so if I leave then, I'm already late. And so like, I forget to build in that time to like the prep time and the buffer time. And it's just, and also I massively underestimate how long everything's going to take anyway.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, it's just like an endless circle of bullshit.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's quite funny when you talk about travel time. It reminds me of somebody who's actually in my hypnotherapy group. I won't name her, but we've it's quite a running joke now because our tutor says, "Oh, I can see so and so running past the window to start class. That must mean it's nearly 9:10," because she's always late, always. And she's like, "Oh, sorry." But she's always got an excuse. But I just think, bless you, you are definitely being very over optimistic about your travel arrangements or ignoring them completely. And it's such a trait. I totally relate to that because that was what I was like all the time.
Yeah.
And I have got better with age. I very rarely, when I say age, I mean after putting in place strategies over several years. It's not my chronological age that has anything to do with it. It's the amount of effort I've put into becoming good at time management.
Yeah.
And it was funny. I was speaking to somebody at our event who I kind of made the admission that I still struggle with this stuff at times. And he said, "Well, you're the one who tells everybody else how to do it." And I was like, "Well, yeah, I do still feel qualified to talk about this stuff because I know how much progress I've made by putting in strategies. I'm not perfect yet, and I still beat myself up for getting it wrong now and again. But actually, if you could see what I was like 20 years ago, you'd wonder how I functioned."
Yeah. And that's such an interesting thing. It's like, I don't know how I function like now, but that's such an interesting thing to say as well, because it's like, I would much rather learn from somebody who still is struggling with this stuff than from somebody who claims to have it all figured out. And if they're lying, like anyone who says that they've got it all figured out is flat out lying. And you can kind of like relate that as well to, you see all of these, this is more of like a business thing, but like you see all of these people on the internet, on social media and stuff, and they're all like, "Oh, I've got this like 12-figure business and I do this, that and the other." And if you go behind the scenes of their like fancy ass business, it's an absolute shit show. And they're all like I've literally worked with people who, like, I'm obviously not going to name any names, but I've like literally worked with people who you would think have got all of their shit together, and they walk like they've got all of their shit together. And then you have a look behind the scenes and it's a shambles, and they treat people badly, and they, and it's just like, wow. And it's just made me not trust like literally anybody anywhere ever now, because it's like, but if somebody comes and says, "You know what, I'm still figuring this out, but here's some of the stuff that I've learned," I'm like, I want to be around you. You're a person that I want to be around, because like nobody's got it all figured out. Nobody.
No, exactly. So, and it's, you're right. It's snake oil peddling to pretend any different, isn't it?
Yeah.
So,
listeners, you can trust us because we haven't got our shit together either.
We're a complete shit show. That's why you should listen to us.
Yeah, but we're figuring things out so that you don't have to.
Yeah, exactly. And it's like lessons learned over many, many years, isn't it? It's like I say, we're neither of us can say we are at the top of our game right now, but we are doing so much better than we were.
That's so funny. The idea that I could ever think that I was at the top of any game anywhere ever is just like, wow.
We're at the top of our chaos game.
Well, you know what? I'm at the top of my comfortable hoodie game. I was just saying to you before we came on, I was like, I was going to look nice this morning, but it's too damn cold, so I'm wearing my wearable blanket.
Is that what they call it, a wearable blanket?
No, it's actually an Udi, and look how giant! Look, you can literally be
love it. I bloody love. Do you know what? I've got envy now, and it reminds me actually, one of the videos that has recently gone out. Raymond's been sending out little short clips of our videos, and one we talked about was about clothes shopping. And I would like to share a little win that I've had just before Christmas.
Yes, do it.
When I got our branded clothing made up, and
nice.
One of the reasons we've gone branded is so that we don't have to decide what to wear every morning.
That's a really good idea.
Either a t-shirt or a hoodie. And it's so liberating. It's really nice. But I'm kind of thinking I wish I had a branded wearable blanket now, because I've got fluff envy.
Oh, it's so soft. It really is. And then if you've got because I've got one of those oil-filled heaters in my office. So I put this on and then I stand with it over the heater and fill it up with hot air. And it's just the best.
I can just imagine you rising up towards the ceiling.
I do. I'm like on the ceiling, like.
That's so nice.
That's another thing that you just like. That's such a good point, because we talk about overwhelm this morning, and like one of the things that really overwhelms me, and this is why I generally end up looking like a tramp every morning, is because it's three reasons actually. Partly because I don't want to be cold, so I want to wear warm clothes. Partly because I have so many stupid sensory issues, and like I need my clothes to be quite loose and like I really want to be comfortable, and I haven't like found that many clothes that are nice and comfortable yet. And the third reason is it's just really exhausting. Like I can stand in front of my my wardrobe. My like horrific pile of clothes for half an hour and still be no closer to what shall I wear. And so it's just like, and so I end up wearing jogging bottoms and old t-shirts and a scatty old hoodie because they're comfortable. And so, but like, and I follow this woman called Samantha Harmon on LinkedIn who is amazing. And she does styling for women, for business owners. And she's got this course that I am budgeting to do later this year, because she helps you to like figure out your wardrobe and your colors and then put together like things to wear. And so my ambition for later this year, when we've finished doing our building work and stuff, and we've actually got space for a proper wardrobe, is every morning, like every Sunday, I'm going to lay out my outfits for the week. So I've got like Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. And then it will be like, I don't have to think about it. I know I'll look nice. It'll be comfortable because I'll have done this course with this woman, and it'll just be ace.
That's the dream, isn't it?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I love that. I watch wardrobe adverts on TV, you know, the ones for like the sharps fitted wardrobe, and just think, oh, I feel so calm in that room. I would work in that room.
I want a dressing room. Like, you know, do you remember the film Clueless? Was it Clueless?
Yeah.
Was it
the revolving?
Yes, and you would want, it would like be this whole room full of clothes, and it's like I don't want that many clothes because like I'm not that capitalistic, but like just the big space and like a place to sit and do your makeup, and
it's just such a lovely thought, isn't it, being in some place like that? But I suppose it requires maintenance. It requires you to put things back where you found them and that kind of thing, which a lot of ADHDers don't find very easy, is it? The tidiness thing.
It requires a maid.
Well, we did actually speak once before about a butler. So we obviously identify here that we do need staff.
Yes, a wardrobe butler.
I mean, it's not too much to ask, is it?
I don't think so, no. I mean, like, it doesn't sound overprivileged and spoiled at all.
I'm suddenly imagining what your wardrobe would look like. You press the button like she does in Clueless, and a whole like plethora of these different coloured oodies. And you're like, oh, I think the purple one today.
Yes, it's now spring, so the penguins aren't suitable anymore. I need like snowdrops or something.
Exactly. It's or like Easter bunnies.
Oh, yeah, Easter bunnies. I like that idea.
Yeah. But it's just like, we I get fantasies about stuff like that. Definitely. I'm talking a lot about fantasies today, aren't I? But I do spend a lot of time in the dream world.
Prison fantasies and hospital fantasies and wardrobe butler fantasies.
But that's where our brains just dive off into, isn't it? It's just like, oh yeah, I could spend all day there.
Yeah. Yeah. So tell me about your prison cell.
My prison cell is kind of it's clean.
Good.
The mattress is probably a lot more comfortable than you would normally see. And it's probably got a duvet instead of a scratchy blanket.
Yeah.
It's more like a nice bedroom, maybe more akin to a nice private room in a psychiatric unit, something like that.
I mean, you could just get Kevin to lock you in.
I could. But, you know, it's really important that I do get fed.
Yeah. Because
I get a little bit anxious about hunger. I don't like feeling hungry, so I'd like to make sure that I've got 3 meals a day plus snacks that come through the trap.
That sounds like the fanciest prison ever.
I know, but the book trolley is very important in my prison fantasy. That I've always got like a proper arrangement of books that I'm dying to read. So they're not just like crap, war novels and that kind of thing that I've got no interest in. They're really, really good books that I want to spend all day uninterrupted, just reading. Possibly a degree, might take a degree while I'm in prison. Depends how long I'm in for, really. Depends what I've done.
Yeah.
If I'm a lifer, then obviously I'll become a full-time academic if I'm a lifer. So
absolutely. I feel like we're going to get letters now.
We might do, but we're not going to be the only people that have thoughts like this. So don't judge us.
And also, like, it's just like, if you are thinking, just a little bout of a mild bout of pneumonia, just enough to put me in hospital but not be dangerous, then maybe have a look at your schedule. Maybe have a look at, maybe it's a little bit of my sheep have just popped up. Maybe it's a little bit of a sign that, your brain is telling you that you need to chill the fuck out for a bit.
I think that is the key, and that could be the definite message for this video is, if you find yourself having fantasies like that, then it's time to block out some time for yourself, some me time, some time where you might not need to be solitary, but you might just need to have that little bit of time where you're not feeling like you're burning yourself out on something.
100%. Yeah. Especially if it's like, because every now and then I'll be at the top of the stairs and I'll think, I could just trip.
Fix. Sorry, don't do it.
The thing is, though, I'm so clumsy that I can imagine myself, like, at some point having that little, like, thought. I also get real intrusive thoughts as well, and like that's one of them. Is just like, just face plant down the stairs, and it's just like I can see myself just doing that because, like, I'm constantly, like, yesterday I ruined our entire day yesterday. So this is so ADHD as well. Ruined our entire day yesterday. Joe said I didn't, but I feel like I did. Got up too late to start with. Like, I love having a lie-in, but I got up too late. And then I spilled muesli everywhere. And then I knocked the cat food over and spilled that everywhere. And I'd also dropped something and I just lost my shit. Like, I just stood there and screamed because I was just like, I just filled the kitchen floor with cat food. There was muesli everywhere. And I was just like, I cannot. And so we were supposed to be going for a walk and I was like, I can't.
Just totally, just like your brain exploded.
Total meltdown. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think it was because it was just like, even though it was Sunday, I was like, I've got to do this and I've got to go for a walk and I'm going to be a minute. It's like, Sundays are supposed to be nice. And I just made it not nice. And I just think that's an ADHD talent as well, as like how to make what should be a nice thing really stressful.
Yeah, absolutely. And you just reminded me of a little scene that Kev and I had at this weekend. Because we think he's not diagnosed, but we think he's showing a lot of traits. And I was driving back from the hypnotherapy course, and he said, "Don't worry, I'll cook." And I thought, that's really nice. I'm going to go home to a wonderful home cooked meal. He didn't realise that when the recipe said get a pot that can be on the hob and in the oven, he didn't realise Pyrex isn't good for that. Okay, so he put a Pyrex bowl on the hob and it exploded. So I came into glass and butternut squash everywhere. When I was thinking, and because he was like quite overwhelmed about all this sort of thing going on, it seemed like everything we picked up after that either spilled or dropped, and it was like two circus clowns in the kitchen because we were trying to get it together, but everything was going wrong.
Like a chain reaction of nonsense.
Yes. It was. So it's like that is another thing that can happen. It's like one thing goes wrong, and then suddenly you're knocking over bottles of milk. You are sliding around on shit and crashing into objects, and when really you should just stop, take a breather, and think, okay, before I start trying to address this first problem, do I just need to calm the fuck down?
The answer to that for me is always yes.
But yeah, you had to be there really to appreciate it in all its magnificence. We were just like the Chuckle Brothers, basically.
In my head, I could see both of you, and the soundtrack is the Benny Hill theme tune.
We should have videoed it. We should have. Absolutely brilliant. Yeah, but do you find you get moments like that? It's like one little catastrophe will lead quickly onto another.
Yeah, because I start flapping, and it's just. Yeah, and it's just like that reaction. Like I was driving along the other day and I was late, and actually through no fault of my own because I had actually left like way early enough. But then Hereford is also known as Horrorford because it's just the worst place in the world to drive through. And they closed the road. And so I was just sitting there and I was like, I'm literally going to be late for the class that I'm teaching. And I was sitting there for 45 minutes in almost stationary traffic and I was absolutely losing my shit. And I just sat there and I was like, why are you losing your temper? There's literally nothing that you can do about this. Like nothing you can do about it. There's people at the studio that can do the warm up for you. It's not, it's not the end of the world. And so actually that was really helpful. So maybe that's a top tip for people today as well. It's just like, look at what you're doing, like look at your reaction and ask, is this helpful?
Yeah, exactly. And reminding yourself that whatever you're doing probably isn't life or death.
No, it's not.
Yeah, you have to think, shit, I really am overestimating the importance of what I'm doing here.
Yeah, I am not that important.
Yeah, but all these things, these thinking errors that tend to be sort of amplified, don't they, when you're in that kind of state there?
Yeah, but that kind of stressful like chain reaction thing, it amplifies the next thing and the next thing, doesn't it? And it's just and so you end up like spinning around and then you knock something over and it's like
Yeah, but what's good is that my whole life used to be like that, so now it's only like happens now and again. Here I am, wise like Yoda.
Now I only explode things in the kitchen instead of everywhere. So true. Yeah, but so hopefully that's been a little bit helpful to somebody. I don't even know how. Do you? It's like sometimes I come to the end of these little recordings and I just think we have just basically been laughing, chatting. We've given people like two really valuable things. The first thing being that, three. The first thing being that like weird thoughts will happen in your head and that's okay.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And if you like, maybe you shouldn't tell all of them all the time, but if you ever want to tell us, then that's a safe space for you to do so. If you're having little fantasies about falling down the stairs, maybe look at your life and find some space to like build in some rest, because it's usually your body's way of going, we're done, you need to chill. And thirdly, what was the last thing we just talked about? Oh yeah, reacting to things. Like, is this a helpful reaction?
So we've covered a lot, haven't we? That was me totally underestimating the value of what we've done, because all I can think about is the laughs.
Which is also valuable.
It is. If we can give things of value with a little bit of humour, then that's a good thing. I think it's a great way to start the year. We're fucking smashing it.
Yes.